India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. US President Joe Biden to meet UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer next week for White House talks. Focus on conflicts in Gaza and Ukraine. Big relief for Donald Trump in hush money trial case. Sentencing delayed until November 26. Boeing Starliner capsule returns home, leaves astronauts behind at the International Space Station. And in sports, Indian para-athlete Praveen Kumar bags 6th gold medal as India's tally rises to 27. And top seed Jannik Sinner reaches US Open final for the first time, ends Jack Draper's run in a hard-fought display. US President Joe Biden will host British Prime Minister Keir Starmer for talks in Washington next week. The talks are expected to touch on the conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza and other issues. Next Friday's meeting with the leader of one of America's closest allies comes as Biden looks to step up engagement on the international stage in his final months in office. This would be Starmer's second visit since he was elected earlier this summer. He visited the White House 2 months ago for a one-on-one talk with Biden when he was in Washington for the NATO summit. There is big relief for Donald Trump in the hush money trial case. A New York court delayed former U.S. president's sentencing in Manhattan hush money criminal trial after the November election. The New York judge on Friday delayed the sentencing to 26 November, citing the unique time frame this matter currently finds itself in among his reasons. A New York jury in May convicted Trump on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, the first time a sitting or former president has been convicted of a crime. The Republican White House candidate had been scheduled to be sentenced on September 18th for falsifying business records during a scheme to silence an adult star. Former U.S. President and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has welcomed the delay in his New York hush money trial sentencing. Trump expressed relief over the postponement of the trial, labeling it as political interference in the 2024 election.
Big news today is that the Manhattan DA witch hunt against me has been postponed because everyone realizes that there was no case because I did nothing wrong. It's a witch hunt. It's an attack by my political opponents in Washington, D.C., and Comrade Kamala Harris and radical left opponents for purposes of election interference. That's all that was.
Ahead of next week's debate, U.S. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump mocked his Democrat rival and current Vice President Kamala Harris on Friday. Trump said over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris and the radical Democrat Party have led a war on law enforcement in America. I quote him, he said, they're against you so strongly. He added that Kamala's crime wave will end the day I will take the office. But no crime Kamala has committed against the rule of law is worse than her nation-wrecking border invasion, and I unquote. As part of the Democrats' campaign in Michigan, U.S. President Joe Biden signed an executive order on Friday to improve job scenario in the country. Biden claimed that he created 16 million new jobs since he took office of the president in 2020. Popularly known as Good Jobs Order, the move will improve Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris's image among the labor and job seekers community. The U.S. president signed the order in presence of various labor union leaders from across the country. The order directs federal agencies to launch new programs for onshore manufacturing, make infrastructure upgrades, and promote clean energy to adopt new labor standards in administering federal grants. The document is named as Executive Order on Investing in America and Investing in American Workers.
Sign another groundbreaking executive order. It's called the Good Jobs Executive Order. For the first time in our history, The official policy of a presidential administration is to specify a clear list of higher labor standards for jobs created through my Investing in America agenda. And here's what my executive order will do. For jobs created using federal dollars, good jobs, the executive order will call on a federal agency to protect the workers, the power of the workers, to encourage the free and fair choice to join a union.
Let's get to updates from Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Ukraine needed the full support of its allies to be in a strong position for any future negotiations with Russia. Zelensky held discussions with bipartisan delegation of U.S. senators in Italy on Friday. The discussions were focused on increasing sanctions against Russia, in particular looking at the energy and banking sectors. The Ukrainian president has again called on the West to help Ukraine conduct long-range strikes into Russia. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz held talks on Friday with French President Emmanuel Macron on various issues related to Ukraine and Gaza conflicts. The two leaders discussed the importance of maintaining support for Ukraine and the need for a ceasefire in Gaza during the talks. According to the French presidency, the two leaders expressed their determination to support Ukraine for as long as and intensively as necessary in its fight against Russia. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry said that Russian forces have taken control of 6 villages over the period between August 31st and September 6th in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region on Friday.
As a result of active and decisive actions by units of the Center Group of Forces, the settlements of Kirovo, Vaich, Skuchny, Karlovka, Zavatin and Zruaka of the Donetsk People's Republic were liberated. Formations of the 5 mechanized infantry, ranger, airborne assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a National Guard brigade and a Territorial Defense brigade were defeated. 53 counter-attacks of units of the Armed Forces of Ukraine were repelled.
Amid the ongoing fierce conflict with Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin made a big statement and named India along with China and Brazil as possible mediators to establish peace. The statement sees reflection from India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's serious efforts for peace between the warring parties, a situation that was inflicting upon global food and energy insecurity. Here's a detailed report by DD India's Akhilesh Suman.
Since the outbreak of conflict suddenly between Russia and Ukraine on February 24, 2022, Prime Minister Modi had been expressing concern on its global fallout. While reverberations on problems of such a conflict were being felt by many, it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi who took the first plunge to talk directly to Russian President Vladimir Putin and made high pitch to stop the war. On September 16, 2022, in Samarkand of Uzbekistan, Prime Minister Modi, in his bilateral meeting on the sidelines of SCO summit with Putin, said the irrelevance of the war by saying the famous words, "This is not an era of war."
आज का युग युद्ध का है नहीं और हमने फोन पर भी कई बार आपसे इस विषय में बात की है कि डेमोक्रेसी और डिप्लोमेसी और डायलॉग ये सारी बातें ऐसी हैं कि जो दुनिया को एक स्पर्श करती है। आने वाले दिनों में शांति के रास्ते पर हम कैसे बढ़ सके उसके विषय में जरूर आज हमें चर्चा करने का मौका मिलेगा। आपका व्यू पॉइंट समझने का मुझे भी एक अवसर मिलेगा।
Prime Minister Modi's bold statement was recognized and appreciated by leaders of most countries, including America. Prime Minister had used the relations between India and Russia and his own personal equation with Putin for depicting irrelevance of such a war. Prime Minister Narendra Modi kept in touch with all stakeholders of peace, including Americans and Ukrainians. Primarily, the consistency made Putin feel India can honestly play a role in the war that is in no one's benefit. On July 9, 2024, Prime Minister Modi visited Russia amidst the conflict that raised eyebrows among many. This was the time when an Ukrainian child hospital was hit by Russian missile, and PM Modi condemned this incident from Russian soil, signaling that he was not in favor of such indecent behavior amidst any conflict. On August 27, 2024, the two leaders exchanged views on the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict over a phone call. Prime Minister shared insights from his recent visit to Ukraine. He underlined the importance of dialogue and diplomacy, as well as sincere and practical engagement between all stakeholders, to achieve an abiding and peaceful resolution of the conflict. Before that, on his visit to Ukraine on August 24, Prime Minister Modi said that India was not neutral. In his opening remarks during talks with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, PM Modi said India was on the side of peace.
हम न्यूट्रल नहीं थे, हम पहले दिन से ही पक्षकार रहे हैं और हमारा पक्ष है शांति का.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, before reaching Ukraine, was in Poland, from where he said that no problems can be solved on the battlefield. He emphasized India's support for dialogue and diplomacy for the early restoration of peace and stability.
भारत का यह दृढ़ विश्वास है कि किसी भी समस्या का समाधान रणभूमि में नहीं हो सकता. किसी भी संकट में मासूम लोगों की जान की हानि पूरी मानवता के लिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती बन गई है. हम शांति और स्थिरता की जल्द से जल्द बहाली के लिए डायलॉग और डिप्लोमेसी का समर्थन करते हैं.
In between, Prime Minister Modi was also in constant touch with US President Joe Biden for creating an atmosphere of peace. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India.
The United Nations Security Council began considering on Friday a draft resolution to extend the mandate for an international security mission helping Haiti fight armed gangs and asked the UN to plan for it to become a formal peacekeeping mission. The mandate of the Multinational Security Support Mission, first approved by the Council for 12 months, is set to expire at the start of October, but has seen few results with few troops on the ground and far less funding than hoped. The 15-member council is due to vote on September 30th on the mandate renewal. The council would have to eventually vote on a separate resolution if they want to formally transition the mission into a formal UN peacekeeping operation in Haiti. Such a move would ensure funding for the mission. Boeing's beleaguered Starliner undocked the International Space Station on Friday, leaving behind its first crew of US astronauts to return to Earth empty and finish a drawn-out test mission fraught with technical issues. NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams, who became the first two to fly Starliner in June, remain on the space station with 7 other astronauts 250 miles in orbit as Starliner autonomously departed the laboratory at 22:04 GMT for a 6-hour journey towards Earth. The 2 astronauts bid farewell to a capsule whose propulsion system problems stretched their 8-day test into an 8-month mission. Stoked with extra food and supplies, Wilmore and Williams will instead return on SpaceX vehicle in February 2025. Since then, Boeing engineers have uploaded new software to Starliner that allows it to come back without a crew inside. The return trip will be a key test for Starliner's maneuvering capability. Another shooting incident has been reported from the U.S. A 15-year-old Maryland high school student died on Friday after he was shot by another student inside the school bathroom at Japetown High School. Police arrested the 16-year-old suspect in a nearby neighborhood but did not immediately find the weapon. Authorities said the suspect will be tried as an adult. Late 15-year-old student was given first aid by the school nurse and the police officer assigned to the school. He was then airlifted to Johns Hopkins Hospital where he was pronounced dead. You're watching DD Indian News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, more than 80% of people vote through postal votes on the first 2 days of polling for presidential election in Sri Lanka. Super Typhoon Yagi makes landfall in southern China, forcing evacuations, shutting schools and businesses and disrupting travel of the people. A national memorial to the late Queen Elizabeth II to be erected in a central London park in remembrance of the nation's oldest and longest reigning monarch. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's continue getting you more international updates. Amid the ongoing anti-government protests in Venezuela, the Argentine Foreign Ministry on Friday announced that it will request the International Criminal Court to issue arrest warrants against Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and other members of his government over events following the July presidential election. According to a statement, the South American government will present an investigation named Situation in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela on Monday about incidents after the election, which they say could be considered crimes against humanity. Venezuela's National Electoral Authority and its top court have said that Maduro was the winner of the election with just over half of the votes, but tallies shared by the opposition show a resounding victory for the opposition. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken vowed that the United States would enforce sanctions against Venezuela. The U.S. on Monday seized Maduro's plane in the Dominican Republic, saying the aircraft was purchased for $13 million using a shell company to skirt U.S. sanctions. The U.S. Secretary of State is on a bilateral visit to the Dominican Republic. The move came as the U.S. presses Venezuela to release detailed vote tallies from July elections, voicing skepticism that Maduro secured another term, as electoral authorities announced.
We are deeply concerned about the trajectory in Venezuela in the wake of elections where the will of the Venezuelan people could not have been more clear, but unfortunately that will and their votes were not reflected.
Despite international efforts to normalize the relations, tensions continue between Serbia and Kosovo. On Friday, Serbian protesters partially blocked a road near the Maiden border crossing, which links Kosovo and Serbia. Protesters parked cars in the middle of the road, turning back drivers with Kosovo documentation, and also protesting against recent action by Pristina's government in northern Kosovo, specifically the closure of Serbian parallel structures run from Belgrade. Kosovo and Serbia share 6 border crossings. In recent months, Kosovo has closed Serbia's state-run mail service and stopped the use of Serbia's currency, the dinar, in that region. Mexico's opposition senators are uniting around the possibility of blocking controversial judicial reforms pushed by President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, which will go to a vote next week, suggesting its passage might not be as easy as first thought. The ruling party, Morena, and its allies are currently one vote short of the two-thirds majority in the Senate needed to pass the reform, which would overhaul Mexico's judiciary by electing judges through popular vote. The reform passed the lower house this week amid street protests that forced the vote to be moved to a sports complex. Meanwhile, Mexico's outgoing president, López Obrador, warns the Supreme Court against blocking its controversial judicial reform, saying it would be a flagrant violation of the Constitution. France's new right-wing prime minister on Friday sought to cobble together a government capable of mustering parliament backing as critics lambasted the president for turning the far right into a kingmaker after snap polls. New Prime Minister Michel Barnier vowed in a primetime television interview on Friday that he had nothing or not much in common with the theories or ideology of the National Rally, the far-right outfit that became the single largest party in a fragmented parliament after the polls on July 7th. President Macron took the risk of dissolving parliament in June after the far-right trounced his alliance in European elections, but where he hoped to defuse the RN's appeal, the party made massive gains. In Sri Lanka, postal voting was held for 3 days until Friday, in which over 7,12,000 government officials exercised their franchise. Now, according to Postal Department officials, the use of postal votes was high over the first 2 days, as over 80% of people have used postal votes on the first 2 days itself. The polls, which are first one ever since the economic crisis and protests in 2022, are being seen as a crucial vote that will decide the future of the island nation. The economic and political turmoil had forced former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to flee the country and later resign in July 2022, which was followed by Ranil Wickremesinghe becoming president for the remainder of the term. The election is seen as a referendum on incumbent president's 2 years at the helm of a fragile economy, making efforts towards a recovery. Sri Lankan President Wickremesinghe faces tough challenge from the leader of the opposition in parliament, Sajith Premadasa, as well as from the leftist alliance leader, Anura Kumara Dissanayaka. With 38 candidates in the fray, 17 million voters will decide the fate of not just the candidates, but also the future of the South Asian nation. All right, DD India's correspondent, Dr. Ahmed Muin Farooqi, joins us from Colombo. Ahmed, good morning. Now, we've told our viewers how 80%, more than 80% people voted through postal voting. Help us understand the political procedure there in Sri Lanka and also the political landscape. How are the political parties poised? Though we've given just a brief outline of the political system in Sri Lanka to our viewers.
Good morning, Preeti, and good morning to all our viewers. Primarily speaking, you see, Sri Lanka, it follows the system of executive presidency. That is, the president, he is the head of the state, he's the head of the government, he's the head of the cabinet, he's head of also the tri-forces, the armed forces. Now, that gives immense power to the president. And now that the nation, the island nation, is heading towards the presidential elections on 21st of September, the stakes are very high. There are 38 candidates already in the fray, but there are only 3 front runners as of now. People might also count in another candidate who was from the current, the majority party in parliament, the SLPP. But primarily, the 3 frontrunners, namely the incumbent president, Ranil Wickremesinghe, who's primarily seeking a re-election on the basis of his policies in tackling the economic crisis. At a time when he had assumed the charge in 2022, the country was grappling through a severe economic crisis. And this is the reason why he's expecting that the people would consider him as an option, because he is probably the one who could take the nation through stability as well as growth. And that is one of his thoughts. However, he had, during the tenure, he had taken a certain unpopular decisions, which included increasing the taxes, as well as increasing various other tariffs, which was seen as something which caused a huge turmoil on the people who were already grappling through a very high inflation of about 70%. Meanwhile, the inflation has now been curtailed, and it's around, it's less than 5%. It's, as per the latest numbers, it's around 2% as of now, or as per the last month. In addition to that, the interest rates have also brought down, they have been brought down, and essentials availability has been improved in the island nation. Meanwhile, currently scenario is that the other opposition candidate from the Samagi Jana Balavegaya, SJP, he's the leader of opposition, Sajith Premadasa. He is considered to be a challenger, and he has always been talking of providing a cleaner and a very systematic kind of a government. He is also talking of revamping the corrupt practices and how to bring about a systems change. And he's also the one who's talking of stability and a positive kind of a growth towards creating a new economy. This is one of the candidates who is considered as a challenger. Meanwhile, a leftist alliance, National People's Power, led by Anura Kumara Dissanayaka, is also considered as a popular option among young voters. He had been one of the leaders who had vehemently challenged that the IMF deal, which the current government had struck, needs to be renegotiated, and this found some amount of resemblance with regard to the other candidates' campaigns also. This also struck a chord with the common people because they thought that by renegotiating the IMF deal, probably their hardships could be brought down. We have to understand here, and I want to make it clear to all our viewers, in July 2022, Sri Lanka went through, in fact, not just in July, in the major part of the year 2022, Sri Lankans faced terrible circumstances in which there was acute shortage of essentials. There was a short supply of rice, of other food grains, of fertilizer, of medicines, and also of fuel. During that time, India had come to the assistance of Sri Lanka by providing a huge humanitarian assistance of over $4.5 billion. And this helped Sri Lanka in managing the crisis at that point of time. Preeti.
All right, Emma, thank you so much for joining in with those details from Sri Lanka. Let's get to weather updates now. Wildfires continue to ablaze western Peru. The wildfire in the South American nation has destroyed almost 2,600 hectares, forcing residents to flee their homes amid wildfires and thick smoke. A state of emergency was declared in Cajamarca to allow planes from the Ministry of Defense aid the efforts of fire brigades, police, army and even locals to battle the flames. An El Nino weather system forecast to be among the strongest in recent history has been contributing to an array of disasters from fires to floods. Smoke from wildfires filled the air in Labria in Brazil's state of Amazonas, with residents fearing for their health. In late August, all 62 municipalities in Amazonas declared a state of emergency due to severe drought and fires that caused heavy smoke to spread. The National Space Research Agency said that they recorded over 38,000 active fires in Amazon in August this year, the highest since 2005. Brazil's National Institute of Meteorology has maintained an orange alert for low humidity across 17 states in 4 different regions of the country, where relative humidity levels have ranged from 12% to 20%, including the Amazonas, Rio de Janeiro and Espírito Santo, the Brazilian agency said on Thursday. After making a landfall in China, Asia's strongest storm this year, Super Typhoon Yagi, is expected to hit northern Vietnam on Saturday. The Southeast Asian country bracing for Typhoon Yagi, a curfew has been imposed in coastal areas till further notice. Efforts have been made to ensure electricity and communication in major provinces in wake of Typhoon Yagi. Super Typhoon Yagi made its second landfall in southern China's Guangdong province on Friday night, forcing nearly 1 million people to evacuate, with winds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour, disrupting transport routes, closing schools and suspending operations across both Guangdong and Hainan provinces. Typhoon Yagi made its first landfall in Hainan's Wengtian township in Wenchang on Friday evening, packing winds exceeding 234 kilometers per hour. The typhoon has brought heavy rainfall across most of the island, with severe rainstorms pummeling many townships and villages. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world now. Spanish rescue teams have been working tirelessly in Mallorca after the tragic discovery of a British hiker who was found dead following severe flash floods. The hiker, who had been missing along with his partner, went on an exertion through the island's rugged terrain when the area was struck by sudden torrential rainfall. The flash floods caused by an intensive downpour swept through the area unexpectedly, making the conditions perilous for hikers and locals alike. Hundreds of revelers flocked to Vienna's Central Cemetery to attend a concert commemorating the famous site's 150th birthday. Tens of thousands of tourists as well as locals visited the Central Cemetery each month to stroll along the tree-lined avenues and tombs of many famous figures. Nino Mandl, a local singer-songwriter known as Der Nino Oswien, performed the last of 3 cemetery sessions to celebrate the anniversary. A national memorial to the late Queen Elizabeth II to be erected in a central London park at a site which had historical significance and a close personal connection to the record-breaking monarch. Elizabeth II was the nation's longest and oldest reigning monarch, and her death provoked days of mourning and poignant tributes from across the country and the world. Chile is leading an innovative effort to harness the power of algae, particularly electric seaweed, as a potential source of renewable energy. In coastal regions of Chile, researchers and energy companies are exploring the possibility of using algae's natural ability to convert sunlight into energy through photosynthesis to produce biofuels, biogas and electricity. The concept behind electric seaweed is tied to its efficiency in absorbing carbon dioxide and generating biomass. A quick break ahead. You're watching DD India News Hour, but after the break, India successfully launches intermediate range ballistic missile Agni 4 from integrated test range in Chandipur district of Odisha. Sarang team stuns one and all at Egypt's inaugural air show, gaining new experiences and forging new friendships. The 10-day festive extravaganza begins, Ganesh Chaturthi being celebrated with much fanfare across the nation.
New challenges need new strategies, and technology is already impacting the way we live and we farm.
based on the spikes and insights which our algorithms suggest, we alert the farmers or whoever the warehouse owner is about what exactly is happening in which part of your warehouse.
The weather in Meghalaya is definitely one of the center points of how we design these systems. And let's look at all of this together in terms of what is the solar irradiance that they're getting. Try and design a system that is designed to work in that situation.
It's a pretty good living. Greenhouses have improved the lives of 80 or 90% of Almerians.
Our supply chain is farm to door. We supply traders directly, bringing benefits to both.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories once again. US President Joe Biden to host UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer next week for White House talks, focus on conflicts in Gaza and Ukraine. Big relief for Donald Trump in hush money trial case, sentencing delayed till November 26. Boeing Starliner capsule returns home, leaves astronauts behind at the International Space Station. In sports, Indian para-athlete Praveen Kumar bags the 6th gold medal as India's tally rises to 27. And top seed Jannik Sinner reaches US Open final for the first time, ends Jack Draper's run in a hard-fought display. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday met with Aki Abe, the wife of Japanese late former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and fondly recalled his personal friendship with him. She is on her Delhi visit. Prime Minister Modi also expressed his appreciation for Aki Abe's ongoing engagement with India. Sharing a post on social media platform X, Prime Minister wrote, Abe-san's belief in the potential of India's-Japan relations will remain a source of enduring strength for us. Deeply appreciate Mrs. Abe's continuing association with India. India successfully launched the intermediate-range ballistic missile Agni-4. The launch was successfully carried out from the integrated test range in Chandipur district of Odisha. The launch successfully validated all operational and technical parameters. It was conducted under the aegis of Strategic Forces Command. The Agni missiles are long-range, nuclear weapons-capable, surface-to-surface ballistic missiles. Another milestone for the Indian Air Force as the Sarang team dazzled at Egypt's inaugural air show. The breathtaking display left the audience in awe in Egypt. Sharing on social media platform X, the Indian Air Force praised the knowledge shared, experience gained, and friendships forged during the show. The Indian and French navies held their 22nd edition of bilateral naval exercise Varuna 2024 in the Mediterranean Sea. Varuna, which began in 2001, is the backbone of India-France relationship and has evolved significantly over the years. A series of advanced naval operations were conducted during the present edition of the bilateral exercise. The conduct of Varuna in the Mediterranean Sea marks a significant milestone in the maritime domain between India and France. Varuna also exemplifies the commitment of Indian and French navies towards enhancing interoperability through collaborative efforts. The Maiden India Mediterranean Business Conclave is being held in Delhi. Indian Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal cited India's continued macroeconomic growth and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's reforms in ease of doing business as very conducive to investment from the Mediterranean nations.
We offer a large market both for Mediterranean goods and for the offerings that your countries have. Given the desire of Indians to explore the world, given the desire of Indians to learn from the best anywhere in the world, and given the close cultural connect that the nations of the Mediterranean region and India have enjoyed for several years. I think areas like renewable energy, manufacturing, the maritime and blue information technology, agriculture, tourism, all of these have huge potential.
The Syrian Deputy Minister for Economy, Rania Ahmed, hailed the civilizational ties between India and Syria and urged the Indian private industry to explore Syria as an investment destination.
We point out the importance of enhancing the role of the private sector, both Syrian and Indian, in developing bilateral relations, especially by benefiting from the experience of Indian companies in implementing joint projects of direct investment in Syria in accordance with the current investment law.
The Deputy Minister for Research and Economy of Cyprus said that Cyprus is one of the top 10 investors in India and the bilateral trade prospects are very promising.
India's decision to classify Cyprus as a Category 1 jurisdiction for foreign portfolio investments has also significantly boosted the flow of investments from Cyprus into Indian markets. Bilateral trade has also increased steadily over the past years, while the signing of the Memorandum of Cooperation creates a significant platform we should leverage further to facilitate increased investment activities and support business cooperation between Indian and Cypriot companies.
In a tragic incident, at least 15 people, including women and children, were killed and over a dozen were injured in a road accident in northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. The accident occurred due to collision of a roadway bus and another vehicle. Expressing grief over Hathras road accident, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday announced ex gratia of ₹2 lakh each for the kin of victims and ₹50,000 for the injured. Expressing sorrow over the incident, Prime Minister Modi stated that both the local administration and state government are providing all possible assistance to the victims. He also wished speedy recovery of the people injured in the accident. With dire conditions due to heavy downpour in the South Indian state of Andhra Pradesh, the state received about 20 centimeters of rainfall in a single day. Vijayawada city is the worst affected in the state. India's central government has extended support with NDRF and the Indian Navy. Central Minister for Agriculture Shivraj Singh Chauhan visited the flood-affected areas in Vijayawada and reviewed the situation. Our correspondent Ravi Shankar joins us from southern India's Guntur. Ravi, good morning. Now get us more on how is the situation at present, because we tell our viewers that 20 centimeters of rainfall was received in Andhra Pradesh. How has the day begun? Get us more on the weather first.
Yeah, good morning. Situation is getting better than the 3-4 days. If we see the highest rainfall, it was recorded in the past 5 decades in AP, especially Amravati, which is the capital region. It was very badly hit by this rainfall, and at about 6.7 lakh people over the state got affected. But Vijayawada, 2.7 lakh people alone in Vijayawada, especially this Budameru area, they got very much affected. At about 60,000 cusecs of water hit this Budameru at a time, and because of this, 3 breaches happened. This Budameru diversion canal, which was 100 kilometers length in total. And out of these 3 breaches, 2 breaches were corrected by state government. For one, central government extended army support for that, because technically it's in a very high manner to recover all the things. So with the Army's humanitarian assistance and disaster relief team, HEDR, arrived yesterday, and it was in the AN-32 aircraft. At about 40 Army engineers arrived Vijayawada, and they are looking after the 3rd breach, which is of 80 to 100 meters length, which was the biggest one. And because of that breach only, the total Vijayawada city got affected, we can say. So to fill up that breach, Army personnel are working on that. And Shivraj Singh Chauhan, as you said before, Shivraj Singh Chauhan visited this flood-affected areas, and he has done reviews along with the CM Chandrababu Naidu also. And the central team, if we see, in every calamity, central team used to visit after 4-5 weeks after the incident. But in this situation, central team visited on the very 4th day of the incident, which is very historical in Andhra Pradesh history. It showcases the interest of the central government to Andhra Pradesh also. And Sanjeev Jindal, who is the additional secretary to Home Department from central government, he led the central team. And if we see the relief measures in Andhra Pradesh,
they are absolutely in a modern way. Drones are being used for that, for the relief activities and serve food to the victims. And fire engines, it is the first time in the history of AP that about 100 fire engines were procured from all over the state to clear the mud which was left in the houses of these three, Singanagar, Paikapuram and all other areas. So rehabilitation activities are very much happening there. And AP skill development, it is preparing a app to recover and restore the houses with the plumbers and electricians who are the major technicians for the restoration. It created app and the public can just log into the app and request their services for their home restoration also. And the AP Health Department, it also created a special app to assist the public. This is the basic scenario of Andhra today.
All right, Ravi, thank you so much for joining in with those details from Guntur. And a global humanitarian and spiritual leader, Sri Ravi Shankar, is currently on a 4-day official visit to Mauritius. President and Prime Minister of Mauritius accorded a warm welcome to Sri Ravi Shankar. Prime Minister of Mauritius and Sri Ravi Shankar discussed topics including the preservation of Mauritian culture and shared vision of achieving a drug-free Mauritius. Ravi Shankar also met with the President, where he emphasized the importance of youth empowerment, promotion of harmony through stress elimination programs, and the introduction of Ayurveda to Mauritius. Devotees across India are celebrating a popular Hindu festival, Ganesh Chaturthi, also known as Vinayak Chaturthi, on Saturday. This auspicious occasion honors the birth of Lord Ganesha, the elephant-headed deity revered for his wisdom, prosperity, and good fortune. Colorful decorations, prayers, and delicious food characterize this 10-day festival. People come together to create beautiful pandals, decorate their homes with colorful lights and flowers, and offer prayers to Lord Ganesha. On the eve of Ganesh Chaturthi, India's President Draupadi Murmu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar extended greetings and best wishes to citizens of the country. India's famous sand artist Sudarshan Patnaik embellished the sands of Puri Beach in Odisha with yet another masterpiece, a sand sculpture of Lord Ganesha. The sculpture was made by installing 20 types of different fruits with the message World Peace. The sculpture was made on the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. The second leg of India's largest multilateral air exercise, Exercise Tarang Shakti 24, is being held at Air Force Station in Jodhpur. Air warriors from 7 countries, including India, performed mass yoga at the Air Force Station. The Parameswaran Drill Square at the Officers Training Academy in the Indian state of Chennai hosted a grand passing out parade for SSC 118, SSC W32 and equivalent courses. This prestigious event marked the culmination of months of rigorous training, transforming officer cadets into future leaders of the Indian Army. The third edition of the Naga King Chili Festival was celebrated at Siahama village, a prominent producer of the fiery Naga King chili in Kohima district. The festival highlighted the cultural and culinary significance of Naga King chili, which is a key ingredient in Naga cuisines. India is undergoing a phenomenal boom in India's realty sector. This achievement has been significantly highlighted in Global Real Estate Transparency Index released by JLL and LaSalle that sets and analyzes the standards of market transparency in 89 countries and regions. Vishal Baristo reports for DD India on this.
India, the world's 5th largest economy, has been the top global improver in the realty sector over the last 2 years. This is driven by advancements in transaction processes and market fundamentals. Its major city markets have joined the transparent group as their real estate sectors have become more institutionalized and quality of data has improved.
ये लार्जली हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था से भी लिंक्ड है, क्योंकि भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था ने बाकी देशों के मुकाबले काफ़ी अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस दिया है। हमारे कॉस्ट और स्केल एडवांटेजेस हैं, एक डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड है और एक बहुत ही प्रोएक्टिव गवर्नमेंट सेटअप है।
According to the report, China suffers from oversupply, pushing vacancy rates to record highs and pressuring rents. Its investment activity has dropped significantly since 2022, with transaction volumes across the region falling by 7% year-on-year in the first half of the year. In contrast, India's commercial and residential markets are breaking records.
Flow of funds जो है institutional flow of funds है, global और डोमेस्टिक दोनों तरफ से ही बहुत ही रोबस्ट एंड बहुत ही सिग्निफिकेंट फ्लो हुआ है।
One of the major contributing factors behind the strong property sector is institutionalization of the investment market. According to CBRE, the institutional investment reached $6.2 billion in the first half of this year, which is its highest ever. The establishment of publicly traded real estate investment trusts has also helped boost liquidity, set new governance standards for the industry, and acted as a catalyst for sustainable commercial real estate sector. With Vishal Barrister, this is Priya Yadav for DD India.
Let's get you updates from the world of sports now. We'll get you all the updates from Paris Paralympics first. And day 9 of Indian para contingent ended on another phenomenal note as India secured 2 medals on Friday. Praveen Kumar bagged India's 6th gold medal at the Paralympics, while Hotose Sema won a bronze in the shot put final. Praveen Kumar competed in men's high jump T64 category, clearing 2.08 meters to claim his 2nd consecutive Paralympic medal, marking a remarkable continuation of his success on the international stage. Praveen now becomes only the 2nd Indian after Mariyappan Thangavelu to win a gold in Paralympic high jump event. Meanwhile, Sema bagged the bronze medal with a best throw of 14.65 meters in the F57 class. With this, India's historic medal tally at Paris Paralympics rose to 27. India's President Draupadi Murmu extended congratulatory wishes to Praveen Kumar. President Murmu wrote on social media platform X, and I quote her, "Heartiest congratulations to Praveen Kumar on winning gold medal in the men's high jump event at Paris Paralympics. By winning medals at the consecutive Paralympics with record-setting performances, Praveen has shown exceptional consistency. India is proud of Praveen. I wish he continues to scale great heights of sporting excellence in the future." Also, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Praveen Kumar on winning gold medal. Prime Minister posted on social media platform X, and I quote him, "Congratulations to Praveen Kumar for scaling new heights and winning a gold in the men's high jump T64 at the Paralympics 2024. His determination and tenacity have brought glory to our nation. India is proud of him," and I unquote. All right, up next, we take a quick look at medal tally at the Paris Paralympics so far. China leads the medal tally with 83 golds, 64 silvers and 41 bronze medals. It is followed by Great Britain with 42 golds, 34 silvers and 24 bronze medals, while the US is at the 3rd position with 31 golds, 36 silvers and 19 bronze medals. Also, India is at the 17th position with 6 golds, 9 silvers and 12 bronze medals. All right, DD India's Narayan Singh joins us with more. Narayan, how would you sum up India's performance at the Paralympics so far? 27 medals already in the kitty, and also we've seen how the Paralympic athletes have won the hearts of the nations with awesome performance at the forum, isn't it?
Definitely, Priti, as you mentioned that it's a stupendous performance by the Indian para-athletes at the Paris Paralympics. 27 medals so far. Last time we won 19 medals and 5 gold medals, but this time around winning the 6th gold medal in the Paralympics, I think it's a watershed moment and a monumental moment in the Paralympic history. Definitely this achievement is not going to inspire only the budding athletes, but the able-bodied athletes also. It will also induce a confidence that Indian athletes has a caliber to win at any stage. And definitely the number of medals is 27, and today also there are 5 medal events, and 8 medals are up for grab today in the Paralympics, and hoping that the kind of performance our athletes have delivered so far, today also we will win medals, especially Suyash Jadhav in the swimming. He's a medal hopeful, and we are hoping that with the continuous momentum that has been gained, we will definitely cross the 30 medal mark, which is, we can say, that one of the biggest moment in the Indian sporting history. As we saw in the story, the PM tweets for the athletes, he engages with the athlete, he interacts with the athlete. I think that is the driving force behind the revolution in the Indian sports arena. If the Prime Minister of the country involves in the sports, personally takes the responsibility of it, that it catches the attention of the everyone, whether it is ministry, whether it is the corporates, whether the private sectors. So everybody comes forward to support our athlete, and it's the result of that thing.
All right, Narayan, yes, you're talking of the the efforts that have been made by the government. You covered the Paris Olympics also, and now we've seen how stupendous the performance of the athletes is at the Paralympics in Paris. Get us more as to, as a sports journalist, how do you evaluate the efforts that have been taken by the government? What takes it to to encourage the youth of the country for such stupendous performance on a global stage? Because you've talked of Prime Minister. Also, very quickly, let us understand from you the measures, the efforts that have been taken by the government to ensure the sporting talent from every nook and corner of the country, far-flung areas, gets recognition.
Definitely the kind of work done by the government in the past 8-10 years, it is, we can say that is the turning point of the Indian sports. When the PM Modi came to the power, he came with the vision of the Khelo India to make the grassroots level sports of the India stronger, and then the top scheme for the elite athletes who are participating in the competition like the Olympics, Paralympics. And if you take a look at the athletes who participate in the Olympics, Paralympics, all are the parts of the top schemes. And we can say that when we talk to athletes, whether they are para-athletes, the able-bodied athletes, they are saying that whatever they want, whatever are their needs, they are getting instantly. And we also saw that when they are coming back to the country, instantly they are getting the reward checks for the medal winners as they are landing in the country, when they are meeting with the sports minister. So everything is at the right place, and we can say that definitely this has never been witnessed in the history of the country. As the Prime Minister personally involved in it, the top leadership is personally encourages our athlete. Definitely this has never witnessed in any part of the world also.
All right, Narayan, thank you for joining in with those inputs. And now we talk of tennis. World number 1 Jannik Sinner comfortably eased his way into the final of the men's singles at the US Open 2024 on Friday. The Italian star defeated United Kingdom's Jack Draper in straight sets in the semi-final. It is also the first time that Sinner qualified for the finals at Flushing Meadows after crashing out in the pre-quarters last year. Draper had won 15 sets in a row until the quarterfinals, but was found to be going tough against Sinner. With this win, Sinner now becomes the first Italian man to qualify for the US Open singles final. The 23-year-old will face the winner of the All-American semi-final between Frances Tiafoe and Taylor Fritz. And as we told you, India is celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi to mark the birth anniversary of Hindu Lord Ganesha. Ganesh Chaturthi is one of the most celebrated festivals in India, especially in Maharashtra. Devotees install idols of Lord Ganesha in their homes and public pandals to honor the deity. The festival fosters a sense of community, joy and spiritual reverence across the country. Take a look at these beautiful visuals. All right, with those beautiful visuals, we end this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.